Please. You'll stand in front of that computer right there. What's your name, sir?
Eduardo.
Eduardo?
Yeah.
Last name? Last name?
Esparza.
He needs an interpreter.
Let me see your ticket, sir. No, the other. What is that right there?
I already paid this ticket.
Okay,
Is he a witness? Because I don't see him on the calendar.
I don't see him either. Larry Johnson. I think he's not on my calendar. We'll have to research this.
Okay, do we have any red light this morning?
No, sir, we don't.
Okay, thank you. And I understand that Officer Fields is out. He has a conflict. So that case will be reset. It's on page 4 of 6.
Ma'am, are you asking us to stay?
Yes, if you'll just hold on one moment. They paid. You don't have to be here, sir. They've already paid.
Okay, thank
You're welcome.
We have a lot of subpoenas.
Sir, I can help you.
We're giving out subpoenas for today's date, so. Sorry.
You have a ticket?
No.
Are you a witness? This is another one. If you'll just have a seat, sir. Ma'am, if you'll come up. Do you have a ticket? You're a witness. You're a witness? Okay.
I think.
Jaleesa Thomas. Okay, she's on the docket. If you'll have a seat for me.
Okay.
We're both you guys sit. Okay.
What is her plea to the charge?
She's a witness.
She's a witness on the case, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
She does, that's called.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, come on up, sir. You'll stand in front of the computer. This is Mr. Colbert. He's on page 1 at the bottom of.
Mr. Colbert, you're charged with a traffic control device, sir. What is your plea? That is it not guilty, guilty, or no low contendere?
Not guilty.
Okay, we'll call your case momentarily for trial, sir. If you'll please have a seat, and they'll give you a plea form to fill out again. Thank you.
I'll take it. I'll take the other document as well.
Thank you.
Mhm. Sir, you'll come up. Do you have a ticket or are you a witness?
I just have this right here.
Okay, if you'll have a seat, we'll research this, okay?
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Have a seat. Okay, so Judge Freeman, it appears that everyone left Mr. Colbert are witnesses.
Okay, thank you. Then let's go ahead and let everyone in the queue. Let me know once everyone is in. As you come into the queue, please make sure that your video is turned on and your mute button, your device is muted.
Your Honor, you want me to make that announcement?
Yes, please.
This is Ana, the interpreter. Cuando entren, asegúrense que se vean en el video y hagan su anuncio.
Again, please make sure that your video is turned on.
Otra vez, asegúrense que su video esté prendido
And your device is muted.
y su aparato esté en silencio.
If you are a police officer, you do not have to have your video turned on until your case is called.
You have to talk to your insurance company. But they've already paid the ticket.
Everyone in the queue, please type your name name and your email address in the chat.
Que todos que están ahí, que pongan su, su nombre
Find out what needs to happen, but there's nothing that the court can do.
y pongan su número de teléfono y su correo electrónico en el chat.
And send it to FPMC.
Y que se lo manden a FPMC.
All people charged with offenses or witnesses, please type your name in the chat and send it to FPMC.
A todos los que sean, ya sean acusados o sean testigos, que pongan en el chat su número de teléfono y su correo electrónico a FPMC.
Madam Interpreter, see if there's anyone who needs interpreting services.
¿Alguno de ustedes necesita un intérprete en español?
Sí,
Yes.
What is her name?
¿Cuál es el nombre?
Beatriz Alemán.
Beatriz Alemán.
I don't see her on the calendar.
No la vemos en la lista de causas.
Hold 1 second, let me check with Ms. Yates or Ms. Payton. Is Ms. Alemán on the calendar?
We do not have her on the calendar. We'll have to check to see on the 1 o'clock
All
calendar.
right, tell Ms. Alemán that we will get back to her at the end of the calendar, but to stay on the line.
Que se quede en línea, que vamos a ver al final del calendario, a ver por qué no la tenemos ahorita.
Will you
Porque
check
mi
to see if
trabajo-
anyone else needs interpreting services?
¿Alguien más que necesite los servicios de un intérprete?
I am Ronald Freeman. I'm the judge here in the city of Forest Park.
Yo soy el juez Freeman y soy el juez aquí en la ciudad de Forest Park.
The 8 o'clock calendar is a trial calendar.
Y las causas de las 8 de la mañana son las causas de juicios.
You came to court on your arraignment date and you entered a not guilty plea.
Usted vino al tribunal para su lectura de cargos y dio una declaración de no culpable.
You also waived your right to a jury trial
Y también renunció a su derecho a tener un juicio ante un jurado.
and requested that your case be tried via a bench trial in Forest Park.
Y usted pidió que su caso fuera enjuiciado ante un juez vía virtual.
Let me outline the rules of virtual court.
Ok, déjeme decirles cuáles son las reglas en corte virtual.
Unless you are a police officer, make sure your video stays on at all times.
A menos que usted sea un oficial de policía, que se asegure que su video esté prendido todo el tiempo.
Make sure your device shows your name.
Asegúrese que su aparato muestre su nombre.
Type your name and email address in the chat and send it to FPMC.
Y que ponga usted en el chat su nombre y su correo electrónico, que se lo mande a FPMC.
Make sure there are no distractions in your background.
Asegúrese que no haya ninguna distracciones atrás de usted.
Make sure you are not operating a car during the
Asegúrese-
court session.
Asegúrese que mientras esté la sesión del tribunal, que no esté manejando un carro.
We anticipate this court session could last up to 2 hours, so please schedule accordingly.
Anticipamos que esta sesión del tribunal dure unas 2 horas, así es que planee de acuerdo.
I'm going to call the calendar and get an idea as to what your plea is.
Voy a llamar las causas y tener una idea cuál va a ser su declaración, cómo se va a declarar.
If you'd like to have a trial, you will say not guilty,
Y si usted quiere tener un juicio, va a decir no culpable.
or you can change your plea to guilty, or if you're eligible for a no-law plea, you can tender a no-law plea to certain offenses.
Que usted puede cambiar su declaración a culpable, o que si usted quiere dar una declaración de no, lo que usted puede ser elegible en ciertos delitos.
Make sure your name and email address is typed in the chat and sent to FPMC.
Asegúrese que su nombre y correo electrónico esté escrito en el chat y se lo mande a FPMC.
You will receive all court documents through your email.
Va a recibir todos los documentos del tribunal por medio de su correo electrónico.
You will receive them no later than close of business tomorrow.
que los va a recibir a no más tardar antes de que cierren la oficina mañana.
Make sure that you respond promptly.
Y asegúrese que responda usted debidamente.
Let me go over your rights.
Déjeme repasar sus derechos.
First and foremost, you are presumed innocent.
Más que nada, usted está bajo la presunción de inocencia.
The city has the burden of proof
La ciudad tiene la carga de probar
and must prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
y ellos tienen que comprobar su culpabilidad más allá de duda razonable.
You have the right to a trial,
Usted tiene el derecho de tener un juicio
and at that trial, you have the right to be represented by an attorney.
y en ese juicio tiene el derecho de ser representado por un abogado.
If you cannot afford an attorney, this court will appoint one if you meet certain requirements.
Y si usted no puede contratar un abogado, este tribunal le puede asignar uno si usted reúne ciertos requisitos.
You have the right to confront and question every witness called against you.
Tiene el derecho de acarear y cuestionar a cualquier testigo que testifique contra usted.
You also have the right to present evidence on your own behalf at the time of trial.
También usted tiene el derecho de presentar cualquier prueba a su favor durante el juicio.
If you are dissatisfied with any ruling that takes place in the courtroom,
Si usted no está satisfecho con cualquier decisión que tome el tribunal,
you have the right to appeal that decision to a higher court.
usted tiene el derecho de apelar esa decisión a una corte más alta.
If you enter a guilty or a no-law plea,
Si usted da una declaración, si usted se declara culpable o nolo,
you are waiving your right to a trial.
estaría renunciando a su derecho a tener un juicio.
If you're not represented by a lawyer, you are waiving your right to the assistance of counsel,
Y si no tiene usted un abogado, está renunciando a su derecho a tener un abogado.
and you're asking the court to sentence you accordingly.
Y usted está pidiéndole al tribunal que lo sentencie de acuerdo.
For those considering a no-law plea,
Para esas personas que están considerando declararse nolo,
we have to verify that you meet the statutory requirements
tenemos que verificar que usted reúna ciertos requisitos
before a no-law plea is granted.
antes de que se le otorgue una declaración de nolo.
When you hear your name called,
Cuando escuche su nombre,
unmute your device
que prenda su micrófono en su
and
aparato
announce your plea.
y que diga cómo se declara.
Make sure your name and email address is typed in the chat and sent to FPMC.
Asegúrese que su nombre completo, nombre y apellido y correo electrónico lo ponga en el chat y se lo mande a FPMC.
Glendale Arnold. Glendale Arnold, FTA. Daryl Ben. Daryl Ben, FTA. Mr. Colbert has entered a not guilty plea. Jose Dimas Coronado,
Yes.
what is your plea to the charges, sir?
Am I able to know the fine for each one?
The fine on the license charge, if it is your first time, is $7.95. On the traffic control device, it's $200. So if this is your first driving without a license, the total fine would be $9.95.
Guilty.
You understand that by entering into the guilty plea, you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer.
Yes.
Do you also understand, sir, that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes.
Sir, are you entering into the plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And sir, do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the plea?
Yes.
Ms. Peyton, Ms. Yates, can you confirm this is his first driving without a license violation?
We getting some feedback from somebody's mic.
There is knocking going on. Who's ever doing that? If you will please stop and please mute your device unless you're in dialogue with the court. Ms. Aliman, please mute your device. That is correct.
Judge Freeman,
Yes.
He had a driving without a valid license in 2011.
Okay, thank you. All right. This is your second offense, sir, so the total fine is $1,595. Do you understand that?
Mm,
This is not your first offense.
I have previously had a similar charge, and the fine was about $900 earlier this year.
Okay, well, that's not the fine when it's your second time. So if you'd like to change your plea to not guilty and have a trial, you do have the right to do that.
Would the trial be in Forest Park
The trial will be, in fact, today. That is correct.
today? I'll stick to guilty.
All right. The total fine is $1,595. Are you able to pay that in 2 weeks, or do you need to pay that while being on probation?
I will take probation.
Sir, you will be placed on probation for 12 months. Do you understand that?
Yes. Am I able to pay the full amount during any of
Yeah,
the?
let me finish the sentence, okay?
Yes.
2 months of your probation will be mandatory. Do you understand that?
Yes.
After 2 months, if you paid the full amount, your probation can end. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Every month that you're on probation, you will have to pay a monthly supervision fee. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And do you also understand that if you violate your probation, they will bring you back in front of me on a probation revocation calendar? Do you understand that?
Yes.
Sir, do you have any questions you'd like to ask me regarding your sentence?
Well, it's just that earlier this year, I think it was in 2021 December, I was actually pulled over at the same fine. That would have been my second one, and I had the same fine as this time, or as the first time. It was a total of around 900. So I guess I'm a bit confused as why it would be more this time. If each time that I've had the same violation, the cost was around $900.
Well, that's not the cost, and in fact, I am actually waiving the jail time this time. But if you go look at the statute, the second or third time, you're supposed to serve a mandatory jail time.
Okay.
So you tell me what you'd like to do.
I'll take the fine.
Okay. Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes.
All right. Please understand, sir, if you are charged with this again, you will have mandatory jail time. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Ms. Payton or Ms. Yates, do we have his information?
Yes, we do.
All right, sir, you will receive your plea form to which you will enter a guilty plea through your email, and you will also receive your probation information no later than close of business tomorrow. Make sure that you respond and get back and reach out to probation and set up your appointment. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, sir, you can disengage from the call, and thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Iris Hamilton,
Yes,
what is your plea to the charge, ma'am?
not guilty.
Okay, we will call your case momentarily for trial.
Thank you.
Bianca Hayes. Bianca Hayes. That is FTA.
Judge, we have a witness in the, I believe that they are present in the courtroom on that case. That would be
All right, are there witnesses here in the Bianca Hayes matter?
Calvin Nixon is the name. Maybe not. Ms.
Okay,
Payton, one of the people that checked in with you?
sure.
For that case, we have the witness here. For Jaleesa Thomas,
Is there anyone here in the Bianca Hayes matter?
Okay. FTA.
Nancy Hernandez Gonzalez. Nancy Hernandez Gonzalez. That is FTA. Mohammed Jawad.
Yes,
How are you doing, young man? What is your plea to the charge?
not guilty.
All right, we will call your case momentarily for trial. Thank you. And
Do I
Trevon
stay
Jenkins.
on- I'm sorry,
Excuse
do I
me?
stay on the call?
Yes, we're gonna have your trial in about 10 minutes, so Yes, stay on the call until after the trial.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Have you typed your name and email address in the chat, young man?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. And Trevon Jenkins?
Your Honor, I have an announcement on that one after we end the calendar. Mr. Jenkins
Okay,
present to my knowledge though, but I do have an announcement on that.
thank you. And Trevon Jenkins?
That's the one that we're talking about.
Oh, that's the one you have an announcement on. Okay, I'll hold on that one then. Demetrius Jones?
Come up front, sir. He's in the courtroom.
All right, Mr. Jones, what is your plea to the two charges, sir?
NOLA.
All right, is he eligible for a no-low plea?
I'll take your document.
I just to put my case number down.
It's okay. Yes, he is eligible for a no-low.
All right, Mr. Jones, do you understand about entering into the no-low plea, sir, that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Sir.
And sir, do you also understand about entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Sir.
I can't hear you, sir. Did you say yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All right, are you entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And do you think it is in your best interest to enter into the plea?
Sir.
Sir, the total fine for both violations is $250. Are you able to satisfy that in 2 weeks, or do you need to be placed on probation?
2 weeks is fine.
All right, sir, you will be given a 2-week agreement to pay the sum of $250. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. They will give you information. If you'll please have a seat.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Daniel Lovell. Daniel Lovell, FTA. Charles McDaniel.
I'm here.
Mr. McDaniel, your matter is going to be reset because the officer has a conflict. But my question is, have you spoken to an attorney regarding this DUI charge?
No, when I came down and applied for it, I was approved, but I haven't spoken to anyone. I was
Okay.
approved for a court-appointed offender.
All right, can we look and see who was
No one
appointed for
has
Mr.
spoken with.
McDaniel?
It's gonna be Mr. Stinson. I was trying to make contact with Mr. McDaniel. However, I did not have a phone number to reach him or an
All
email.
right, Mr. McDaniel, please provide us with your phone number.
404-207-3915.
207-3915.
Correct.
And what is your email address?
McDanielCharles33@yahoo.com.
McDanielCharge33@yahoo.com.
I have it. Thank you.
Correct.
Okay, Mr. McDaniel, you will receive your court appointment information today in the mail, and we're gonna reset your case, sir, okay?
Okay, I'm free to go.
You can disengage from the call, sir, and thank you.
Okay.
Judge,
Malcolm
Judge,
Morgan.
before we move on, Judge, there was a witness on that matter. Can we announce to make sure that witness is not appeared, or
Yes, is there a witness on Charles McDaniel?
Pedro Lucas is the name of the witness, Judge?
Can you all sound and see if Petro Lucas is in the courtroom?
He's not here.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Lucas, Mr. McDaniel's case has been continued.
Yes.
And you will be notified of the new court date, sir. Do you understand that?
Camera went blank.
No English.
Oh, we need the interpreter, Judge.
Yeah, Madam Interpreter, can you let him know that the Charles McDaniel case has been reset and he will be notified of the new court date?
Dice, señor, que el caso del señor McDaniel lo han aplazado y le van a dar otra fecha para cuando tenga que regresar.
Okay. Don't.
Let him know that he can disengage from the call.
Ya se puede ir de la llamada.
Okay, muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Malcolm Morgan. Malcolm Morgan, FTA. Essence Moss.
I'm here.
Ms. Moss, what is your plea to the following two closely charged?
Can I
And can
change
I
it
get
to
you to get
guilty?
in light, ma'am? I need to be able to see your face in the video in order for us to conduct court. You're gonna need to turn on a light. And I did not hear your plea, ma'am. What is your plea to the following too closely charge?
Changing it to guilty.
Ms. Moss, do you understand that by entering into the guilty plea, you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Mm-hmm.
I need you to say yes or no, ma'am.
Yes.
Do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes.
Are you entering into the plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into a guilty plea to the following too closely charged?
Yes.
Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes.
Do we have her information?
Could she provide it to us, please?
What is your email address, Ms. Moss?
It's essence.moss23@gmail.com.
Do we have that, Ms. Yates?
essence.moss23@gmail.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Moss, the fine amount is $175. Are you able to pay that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time to pay?
I need a little bit longer than 2 weeks.
All right, young lady, you will be placed on probation for 12 months. Your probation will end the moment this is paid. You understand that?
Yes.
You will be placed on what's called pay-only probation. If it's paid within the first 29 days, you do not have to pay any monthly supervision fees. Do you understand that?
Yes.
After 29 days, you have to service monthly supervision fees. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And do you understand that if you violate your probation, they will bring you in front of me on a probation revocation calendar? Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you have any questions regarding the sentence of the court?
No.
All right, young lady, you can disengage from the call. Thank you. Serrano Suarez? Madam
Your Honor?
Interpreter, can you sound for that? Serrano Suarez?
Your Honor, that was reset.
Oh, that one's been reset. Okay.
Excuse me?
Serrano Suarez has been reset.
Serrano
Hello?
Suárez, que lo han aplazado este caso.
Hello?
Who is saying hello?
¿Quién está diciendo
Robin,
algo?
I'm a witness for Essence.
You're a witness for who?
Essence.
She has entered a guilty plea to the charge. You're Miss Robin Issery?
Yes.
Yeah, she has entered a guilty plea to the charge, so her case is disposed of. So there will not be a trial. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So you can disengage from the call, but thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Darcy Thomas?
Yes.
Darcy Thomas?
Yes.
What
Yes,
is your
yes.
plea to the tag charge, Mr. Thomas?
Tag, expired tag, not guilty.
Did you have
Not
a
guilty
valid
on-
tag on the car at the date and time that you were stopped?
Yes, I did have a valid tag.
Do you have proof? Do you have your registration? Because when they check with the county tax records, that tag is not showing valid. So do you have proof that it was valid on that day?
Well, no, if that's what they got, then not, I'm guilty. Sorry.
Okay, in other words, you gotta have it registered by your birthday of every year.
Okay, well, it wasn't registered by my birthday. It
So
was- I
what is your
couldn't,
plea, sir?
not guilty. I mean, guilty. I'm
All
sorry.
right. Sir, do you understand that by entering into the guilty plea that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes, I do.
And sir, do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes, I do.
Sir, are you entering into the plea freely and voluntarily?
Your
Yes,
Honor,
sir.
I'm sorry. Let me
Yes.
interrupt, because he has 2 citations. Is he entering a guilty to both of them?
Let me go with both. Thank you. You also have a failure to yield. I didn't see that one, Mr. Prosecutor. Thank you.
No
You
worries.
have 2 citations, sir. You have an expired tag and a failure to yield.
The failure to yield, I'm pleading not guilty.
Okay, then we will just have a trial on that and we will deal with the tag charge at the time, okay?
Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you. Okay. Next is Jaleesa Thomas,
Judge Freeman?
yes.
Okay, and the witness is Beatrice Alaman. That's the person we were trying to identify earlier.
Okay, if she's a witness in that case, then we will have that trial momentarily. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jaleesa Thomas.
I'm here.
Ms. Thomas, what is your plea to the disorderly conduct charge, young lady?
Not guilty.
All right, thank you. We'll call your case momentarily for trial.
Judge,
Salvador Velasquez,
Judge Freeman,
yes.
in reference to the Thomas case, are you Jacoby? Yes. Okay, so the witnesses are here in the courtroom.
Okay, thank you. We'll call that case for trial momentarily.
Okay.
Salvador Velasquez. Salvador Velasquez. All right, that is FTA. That concludes the call of the calendar. Is there anyone in the queue or in the courtroom that understands they have a case on the calendar and they did not hear their name called?
So I have a gentleman here in the courtroom. What's your name, sir?
Glendale Arnold.
Okay, I have Mr. Arnold. If you'll step in front of the camera, please, sir.
All
Glendale.
right, he came late. Mr. Arnold, what is your plea to driving on suspended license, sir?
Not guilty.
Was your license valid at the time that the officer stopped you?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to be sure because if you are convicted of this, sir, it will either suspend your current license or if you're already under suspension, it will extend the suspension period. Based on the court record, it shows your license was not valid at the time of the stop. But we will call your case for trial momentarily, okay?
Yes, sir.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Yates, that takes care of all of the cases. Mr. Prosecutor, you can call the trials in the order as you see fit, sir.
All right, Ms. Yates, who was it that you said needed to go first as far as officers was concerned?
That was Detective Bishop, but I cannot, hold on one moment, let me try to find the person. And that's
Judge Freeman, if our guy FT8, are we allowed to be dismissed?
Yes.
I thank you, sir. This is Sergeant Arnold.
Okay, I'm looking at it, Arnold. Yeah, yours did FTA.
Thank you, sir.
All right, you take care.
That's the Darcy Thomas case on page 5. So the accident is for Detective Bishop and the expired license, the Trooper Chavez.
Okay, so we can go ahead with the trial on Mr. Thomas. That way we can get Chavez and.
All right, let me go ahead and sentence Mr. Thomas on the tag and then we'll go forward with the trial.
Okay.
Mr. Thomas, it's my understanding you're entering a guilty plea to the expired tag charge, sir. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
You understand about entering into the plea that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes, I do.
Do you also understand about entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes.
Are you entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And sir, do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the plea?
Yes, it is.
On the expired tag, and also, sir, understand under Georgia law, that particular offense is a non-reportable offense, which means it will not show on your record. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do understand.
All right, on the expired tag charge, which happened on October 8th of 2022, that fine is $155. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Are you able to pay that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
2 weeks is fine.
All right, that will be the sentence on that charge. And now, sir, we will start the trial on the failure to yield. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Everyone that's going to testify, if you'll please raise your right hand.
Oh, wait, hold on.
And Bishop, let me have you to turn your video on.
Todos los que van a testificar en este caso, alcen su mano derecha.
Everyone that's going to testify, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right,
Juran que
prosecutor, you want
los
to
que
go
van a
ahead?
testificar van a decir la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad. Diga, sí lo hago.
Thank you, Mrs. Interpreter. I don't think we need an interpret on this particular.
Oh, Your Honor, I thought it was,
We
I
do.
thought that was Beatriz
Because of
Alemán.
the witness, I'm sorry, thank you, that is correct. Okay, go ahead.
She has her microphone off, Judge. I don't think that she heard the swearing in part because she did not raise her hand.
All right, Ms. Alamán, if you will please raise your right hand and let me repeat
Señorita.
her.
Señorita Beatriz Alemán, hace su mano derecha, prende su micrófono, porque usted está como testigo en este caso.
Do you swear or affirm
Usted jura y afirma
that the testimony you're about to give
que el testimonio que va a dar
is the truth,
es la verdad,
the whole truth,
toda la verdad
and nothing but the truth?
y nada más que la verdad.
So help you God.
Lo jura,
If so, say I do.
y si lo hace, diga, lo hago.
Lo hago.
I do.
All right, thank you. Tell her she can put her hand down.
Ya puede bajar la mano, gracias.
All right, Mr. Thomas, we're going forward on the failure to yield charge.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Prosecutor.
Yes, Your Honor. On January 4th of 2022, Mr. Thomas received a citation for failure to yield while turning left. The citation was issued by Officer Bishop. Officer Bishop, on the date in question, you have an opportunity to make contact with Mr. Thomas.
El 4 de enero del 2022, al señor Thomas se le dio un citatorio por no ceder el paso dando vuelta a la izquierda. Señor oficial Bishop, ¿usted puede decirnos qué pasó ese día?
And on the date in question, was that stop within the city limits of Forest Park?
¿Y esa parada fue en los límites de la ciudad de Forest Park?
Yes, it was.
Sí,
Can you-
así lo fue.
Can you briefly state to the court the contact that you made with Mr.
Brevemente, usted puede decirle aquí al tribunal qué contacto usted hizo. And for the interpreter, will you take pauses since I'm not doing this simultaneously?
Yes, ma'am. On the day of the incident, I responded to an accident. I initially met with Mr. Darcy.
If, Officer Bishop, after each sentence, give her time to interpret.
El día
Okay.
del incidente, que hubo un accidente, yo tuve contacto con el señor Darcy.
Mr. Darcy explained to me that he was trying to turn into the Bank of America parking lot, making a left turn.
El señor Darcy me explicó que él estaba tratando de dar una vuelta ahí del estacionamiento.
He stated that while he was trying to do that, the other driver sped up and hit him in the rear passenger door.
Y él dijo que mientras los trataba de hacer, que el otro conductor aumentó la velocidad y le pegó.
I spoke with driver 2, who is Miss Beatrice.
Y yo hablé con la señorita Beatriz.
She stated she was traveling westbound on Main Street.
Ella dijo que estaba yendo al rumbo hacia al oeste en West Street.
She saw the other driver turning in front of her. She tried to hit her brake, but was not able to stop in time and collided with Mr. Darcy.
Y vio al otro conductor que se metió y ella trató de poner los frenos, pero no alcanzó.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, Officer Bishop, let me just make sure that I understand the testimony.
Oficial Bishop, déjeme asegurarme de que pueda entender bien el testimonio.
Just wait until he's.
Your understanding by the statements made that Mr. Thomas was crossing in front of Ms. Alma?
Que
Yes, sir.
las declaraciones hechas por el señor Thomas, que él se cruzó enfrente de la señora Alemán.
And,
Yes.
and also that the impact to Mr. Thomas's vehicle was at the rear passenger door, is that correct?
Y que la declaración de que el impacto donde le pegó la señora Alemán fue atrás del área del pasajero.
Yes, it was.
Sí, así fue.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
No hay ninguna otra pregunta para este testigo, señoría.
All right, Mr. Thomas, you have the right to ask the officer questions, sir. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Actually, I have a statement and
Let me just say, you'll get a chance to make a statement later. Right now is when you ask questions. So do you have any questions?
my question to you or the officer, sir? I'm sorry.
The question right now is solely to the officer based on the officer's testimony.
Just a question of why I wasn't the first one to be spoken to, and you let the victim or the person who didn't get to kick it go without getting a statement from me first to find out exactly what happened. That's all I'm at.
Okay, let me break that question down for you, Mr. Thomas, because it was a couple of questions. Your first question is, how come she didn't talk to you first? And your
Yes.
second question is, why did she release the other person before talking to you?
Exactly.
Okay, so Officer Bishop, can you first answer? He wants to know how come you didn't talk to him first? And then secondly, he wants to know, and I don't know whether you did this or not, whether or not you released Ms. Aleman before talking to him.
I'll be honest with you, Judge, this was back in January, so I don't remember the particular order in which I spoke with the drivers, but I spoke to everyone on the scene. And the reason why the other driver was released because Mr. Thomas was at fault.
Okay, Mr. Thomas, do you have any other questions?
No, I don't have any other questions.
All right, does the city have any other evidence?
Yes, Your Honor, we have one more witness, Ms. Alaman.
Okay,
Madam Interpreter.
Tenemos un testigo, la señorita Alaman.
Ujú.
Ms. Alaman, on the date in question, were you involved in a motor vehicle accident with Mr. Thomas?
Señorita Alemán, la fecha en cuestión, ¿usted estuvo implicada en un accidente automovilístico con el señor Thomas?
Sí.
Yes.
And to the best of your knowledge, that accident occurred within the city limits of Forest Park?
Y que lo mejor que usted sepa, ese accidente ocurrió dentro de los límites de la ciudad de Forest Park?
Sí.
Yes.
Can you please tell the court how the accident happened from your position?
¿Usted puede decirle aquí al tribunal cómo este accidente ocurrió en su punto de vista? Y tome pausas, ¿ok? Para yo poder interpretar. Tiene que
Ok.
parar.
¿Ya?
Ok.
¿Te digo?
Sí.
Ok, yo estaba en el semáforo de la Main Street que queda cerquitita del Bank of America.
I was at the light of Main Street that is real close to Bank of America.
Cuando la luz cambió, pues yo empecé mi marcha
And
y
when the light changed, I started going.
la persona estaba para doblar hacia el banco.
And the person was about to turn into the bank.
Cuando yo me estoy acercando, que no vengo ni a 20 millas, la persona se me atravesó y en vez de seguir su marcha, se paró ahí. Y cuando yo frené y traté de esquivarlo, mi carro se barrió y le dio en la puerta del pasajero.
And then, so he, when he was going on, I was going about 20 miles per hour, and he just got in front of me, and he didn't even stop and hit the red of my car. And I put the brakes and I tried to stop, but I couldn't avoid it.
Salaman, is that all of your testimony?
¿Ese es todo su testimonio?
Sí.
Yes.
Let me just make sure that I understood what you testified to.
Déjeme asegurarme que haya entendido lo que testificó.
As you were traveling forward, coming towards the Bank of America,
Así es que usted estaba viajando y venía así como al rumbo del Banco de América.
Sí.
Yes.
The vehicle driven by Mr. Thomas then crossed in front of you and you could not brake fast enough to avoid the impact.
Y el vehículo del señor Thomas se cruzó enfrente de usted y usted no pudo poner los frenos a tiempo para no pegarle.
Is that correct?
¿Eso fue lo que pasó?
Yo puse mis frenos, pero como él se detuvo y no siguió, porque pudo haber seguido, mi carro se barrió o se
Okay,
deslizó.
pare. Okay, una cosa a la vez, okay? I put the brakes, but since he didn't stop, my car got all smashed.
Okay, nothing further for this witness, Judge.
No tengo nada para ese testigo.
Mr. Thomas, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Ms. Alaman?
Yes, I have questions.
Señor, el señor Thomas tiene preguntas para usted.
Ujú.
at the time, did you not, the car was bright yellow and you was approximately at least 30 yards from me before I turned in.
So
Am I
Mr.
correct?
Thomas, you're gonna get a chance to testify. Remember,
Okay,
this is the
okay.
phase that you ask questions. Do
No,
you
I don't have any questions.
questions?
No, I don't have no questions. No
No,
questions.
no tengo ninguna pregunta.
All right. Does the city have any other evidence?
No, Your Honor, the city rests.
Okay. The city has rested. Now, Mr. Thomas, you can tell us under oath what happened.
Okay, on the day of the incident, I was just before I was on my way to the bank. Of course, we was on
So
Main
can I
Street.
get you to make a statement and stop so that the interpreter can interpret what you're saying, okay? Go
Okay,
ahead, Madam Interpreter.
Ok, el día del incidente yo iba hacia el banco, viajando hacia el banco.
okay. This was one of the days that all the Bank of Americas in the city of, well, in Clayton County were closed, so everyone had to come to that particular bank for service.
Que todos, ese día todos los bancos, Banco de América y el condado ahí de Clayton, todo estaba cerrado. Entonces, es el único banco que estaba abierto, que tenía servicio.
So there were people lined up down the sidewalk and coming across the parking lot.
Así es que había mucha gente que estaba ahí en la acera, que estaba en línea y que estaba hasta estacionamiento.
So as I was turning into the parking lot of the Bank of America, I noticed that people were coming across into the lot. So I had to slow down and hesitate for about 5 seconds before pulling all the way in.
Entonces, cuando yo estaba tratando de voltearme hacia el estacionamiento del Banco de América, había mucha gente cruzando, entonces tuve que yo disminuir la velocidad y me tomó como 5 segundos para poder entrar.
So therefore, the back end of my vehicle, which is bright yellow,
Así es que atrás de mi vehículo, que es un color muy brillante amarillo,
was hanging out the back part of the entrance of the parking lot, and she was about at least 30 yards from me before the incident even happened.
que ella
But-
que estaba como lo de atrás, que estaba colgando, entonces ella estaba por lo menos a 30 yardas de donde yo estaba.
So I don't know why she didn't see me, but she continued to go and hit the back of my car.
Yo no entiendo por qué ella no me vio, porque ella continuó yéndose y me pegó atrás de mi carro.
That's all I have to say.
Prosecutor, do you have any questions, sir?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Thomas, let me just ask, what was the damage to the back of your car?
The back door, the back end and the back fender, the rear door, the right side of the rear door and the rear fender had to be repaired, sir.
¿Y cuál fue su daño atrás de la puerta? Fue atrás toda la puerta, toda donde tiene la defensa, todo eso tuvo que repararse.
This is on the passenger side.
Yes.
Ese es al lado del pasajero, sí.
All right. Mr. Thomas, is there any other testimony from you, sir?
No, there is.
Okay, do you rest your case?
Yes, I rest my case.
All right. Both sides have rested. The court has heard the evidence on the failure to yield.
Ok, los dos han terminado y ya escuchamos a los dos lados de por haber cedido el paso al dar una vuelta.
Court finds Mr. Thomas guilty of the offense, but the court is not going to impose a fine.
Encontramos al señor Thomas culpable del delito, pero el tribunal no va a imponer multa.
And the court is going to reduce this to a non-reportable offense.
Y el tribunal va a reducir a un delito que no se reporta.
So that concludes that matter.
Así esto concluye esa causa.
Mr. Thomas, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, it is.
Do we have Mr. Thomas's information? If not, I see it on the screen. It's darcythomas61@gmail.com.
Yes.
Do you see that, Ms. Yates and Ms. Payton?
don't know. Yes, we see it, Judge Freeman.
All right, can we make sure that he gets his 2-week agreement on the expired tag charge?
Yes,
And
sir.
that he gets his plea forms for both charges?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Thomas, thank you, sir. You can click off. Ms.
Thank you, sir.
Allen, thank you so much. You can click off. Officer Bishop, if
Señorita
that's your
Aleman, ¿se
last
puede
matter, you can click
ir?
off.
Y muchas gracias.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, you want to go to your next matter?
Yes,
Your
sure.
Honor, I think this is it for me.
I thought there was somebody in the
I
court.
think there's some witnesses
Oh, okay.
in the courtroom, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they might be witnesses on.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, you want to go to your next matter?
Freeman.
Judge, we're gonna call Kyle Colbert. This is Officer Chavez's other matter.
All right, Officer Chavez, Trooper Chavez, how you been doing?
Good, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm fine. Mr. Colbert, if you'll please come forward, sir.
Judge Freeman,
Yes.
we do not have anyone here in the courtroom that needs an interpreter.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Yates. Madam Interpreter, you are excused.
I will see you at 1 o'clock.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Colbert and Trooper Chavez, if you both will raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Prosecutor.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Colbert's before the court because on August 20th of 2021, he received a citation for failure to obey a traffic control device. Trooper Chavez issued that citation. Trooper Chavez, on the date in question, do you have an opportunity to come in contact with Mr. Colbert?
Yes, sir, I did.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
That's correct.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
Yes, sir. My patrol vehicle was stationed eastbound in the median lane. In the median of Forest Parkway, right at the intersection of Old Dixie. I had a clear vision of the actual traffic light. So when Mr. Colbert's vehicle approached the light, he actually made a left turn completely at the red turn signal. So that's when I initiated my traffic equipment, my emergency equipment, and initiated a traffic stop on Mr. Colbert's vehicle.
Okay. And when you made contact with Mr. Colbert, did he make any statements to you that you can recall?
I believe he was adamant about the fact that that the light was yellow at the point, but like I said, I had a clear vision of the light, and it was red before he actually made his turn at the stop button.
All right. Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
Mr. Colbert, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Trooper Chavez?
No, sir.
All right. Does the city have any other evidence?
No, Your Honor, city rests.
All right, the city rests. Now, Mr. Colbert, you can offer your testimony, sir, and the city then will have the right to ask you questions.
Okay, so when I was making a left turn onto Old Dixie, from my understanding, the light was yellow. If I saw a police officer in the median, I'm not going to turn in front of him knowing I'm going to get pulled over. I mean, the light was not red. The light was yellow. I mean, that's just, I wouldn't turn through a red light, especially if a state trooper is sitting right next to me. I mean, I'll be here if obviously I'm here now, but I don't, the light was yellow. I mean, that's.
So the prosecutor may have some questions. Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any questions?
Just briefly, Mr. Colbert, you indicated when you approached the light and got into the intersection, that light was yellow. Is that correct?
Yes, the light, I was going under the light and the light was yellow. I did not see red at all.
Okay. So, but you're not seeing red. Does that, in your mind, does that mean that it didn't change to red prior to you exiting the intersection?
When you say exiting, where would my vehicle need to be if I was exiting the intersection?
So in order for you not to get this type of citation, the law would dictate that you clear the intersection before the light turns red, meaning that you completed your maneuver, got into the other side, the road that you were turning onto, parking lot, driveway, whatever it is, prior to the light turning red. My question was, were you able to see that light? Well, while you were in the intersection, were you able to see that light and it stayed yellow the whole time that you went through it?
Yes, the light, when I went through the light was yellow. Yes, sir.
All right. But when you got under the light, could you tell if the light turned red at that point?
No, sir.
No further questions, Judge.
All right. Mr. Colbert, is there any other testimony you'd like to offer, any other witnesses?
No, sir.
Sir, do you rest your case?
Yes, sir.
The prosecution has rested, as well as the defense, Mr. Colbert. Based on the evidence presented, sir, you were charged with violation of a traffic control device. The court does find you guilty of the violation. The fine amount is $175. Are you able to satisfy that, sir, in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
Can I pay it today or?
You can. If you want to go, you're there at the courthouse, you can take care of it today. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, they will direct you to the clerk's office momentarily. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you want to call your next matter, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor, this is going to be Officer James' case, and this is Glendale Arnold.
All right, Mr. Arnold, if you'll please come forward.
Yes, sir.
And Your Honor, I believe Trooper Chavez can be released. That was his last matter.
All right, Trooper Chavez, thank you so much. If that's your last matter, sir, you can be released.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
All right, take care. All
You
right.
too.
Mr. Arnold
Yes, sir.
and Officer James,
Yes, sir.
may I have you to please turn on your video so I can swear you in.
Officer James, do you need us to come back to you?
I'm just trying to figure out how to turn the video back on.
There should be a camera icon on your device.
Okay, I see it. I see it. Okay. Start my video. Yes, sir, I'm here.
Everyone that's going to testify, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, if so say I do?
I do.
All right, you want to go ahead and present the case, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Arnold is before the court because on December 3rd of 2021, he received a citation for driving while license is suspended or revoked. And that was Officer James that issued that citation. Officer James, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Mr. Arnold?
Yes, sir.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, sir.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
Yes, sir. This incident occurred on December 3rd, about 1:45 in the morning. I saw Mr. Glendale was traveling westbound on Forest Parkway and Old Dixie Road. He was driving in a silver GMC Sierra truck. I pulled him over because his right headlight was out. I activated my lights and sirens. I pulled him over. I informed him that his right headlight was out. I asked him to see his driver's license, which he gave it to me. I ran his driver's license through GCIC and TIC, and it came back with a suspended license since September 10th, 2021. I notified Mr. Glendale that your license has been suspended since September. And I don't remember what reason he gave me, but I did notify him that his license is suspended for like a year. And I also allowed him to call his mom so his mom can have his drive his vehicle instead of me towing his vehicle.
Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
All right. Mr. Arnold, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask the officer regarding the suspended license charge, sir?
No, basically everything, excuse me, no, basically everything she said was basically how things happen. But as far as the
Well,
reason,
hold on. Do you have any questions? You'll get a chance to testify. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask her?
no, sir.
All right. Does the city have any other evidence?
No, Your Honor, city rests.
All right. What is the basis of the suspension?
Judge, it looks like there was a failure to appear prior to that from Hateville Municipal Court. The disposition date is foggy on the history, but it looks like the violation date was June 29th of 2020.
Does it show when his license was reinstated or has it been reinstated?
I'm showing that the issue date on his license is December 9th of 2021. So at some point he did get it issued. I don't see any other.
I-
Here, no, I'm sorry. There's a suspension for a failure to appear on September 10th of 2021. And I believe that was in relation to that. Well, Ms. Yates, you were about to chime in?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I do see a reinstatement date, which is December the 12th of 2021.
Okay, so we're gonna introduce the driving history, a certified copy of the driving history. Okay. All right, Mr. Arnold. They have introduced evidence regarding the suspension of your license. You have entered a not guilty plea. Now, sir, you can tell me, or you can present what evidence you have that shows that your license was not in suspension on the day of the stop, which was December the 3rd, 2021 at 1:45 a.m.
Okay. First, the failure to appear, Rayville, they gave me documentation to show that where they supposed to have, like, reported to, I guess, the DDA, but someone or another, it didn't, like, get taken off, because I have also documentation to prove that I was incarcerated at that time of court, that my mother came forward for me to also with proof of incarceration to try to get a rescheduled court date. But they explained to my mother, we have the evidence in the papers, that where they informed her it was just a ticket for a tail light or trailer. Okay, so they explained to her all she had to do was show that the tail light had been taken care of. I explained that to my mother while I was incarcerated. She went a month before the court date, purchased, I had a receipt from her, purchased the tail light, repair, had it repaired, came to court with a receipt, and it was dropped. But it never got.
Let me ask you something, Mr. Arnold. Are you talking about the case in Hateville?
Yes, sir. That's the failure to appear that initiated for my license to be suspended.
Okay.
So from that point, they gave me the paperwork. I even had the proof of the incarceration, the times that, because I got locked up 3 times from December, November, and October. I had just recently got out of incarceration. June the 26th of June the 26th of 2020, to where when they initiated the stage to appear, they initiated
Mr. Arnold, are you still with us?
yes, sir.
Okay, tell me what you're doing.
All right, when they initiated that was, I was supposed to have been in court on 11/17/2020.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Arnold, because what you're asking me to do is correct the actions of another court. And do you understand that I cannot do that? Okay, so if Hateville has you down as suspended, we have to honor that suspension. Now, what I recommend, let me ask you this. When you got this ticket, did you go to the city of Hateville and straighten this out? Not send your mother, did you go?
Yes, sir. That's how I got the paperwork.
Okay, well, show me where the city of Hapeville reinstated your license before December the 3rd of 2021.
Well, as far as, I guess that would be when they,
Because right now it's showing your license were not reinstated until December. It was not reinstated until after the date of this tip.
right. That's
Okay, so, all right. Okay, so I kind of want you to understand, I don't have any control over what took place in Hapeville, other than once it's on your driving history, it has to be respected. Do you understand that?
yes, sir.
So it sounds like you need to go to Hapeville, and if what you're saying is correct, they need to remove this from your driving history. I just don't understand how come you didn't have it done between the date of this ticket, which is December of last year, and now it is December of this year. And it doesn't sound like you've done anything to straighten this out.
I thought it already is straightened out because I paid all the fines. I paid what DDS said. I paid Hapeville court system, even for me to pay to appeal. Okay,
Yeah.
paid all that for me to even get the release to be able to get license for me to drive.
And we can agree that your license were reinstated after this particular incident, is that correct? What day do you have your license being reinstated on?
12/9/21.
And what day was this incident?
That's what I'm looking for the ticket. December 3rd. I like that.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Yes, sir. That I was even by far on November the 10th, 2021, on Jonesboro Road, on the corner of Jonesboro Road and Curry Road, where I actually hit a pedestrian running across the road. They ran my license, they ran everything. And they gave me my license back. They told me I was free to go. The detectives didn't even charge me with the incident. That I don't understand how it had been suspended for so long to even being found out after November incident.
All right, is there anything else you'd like to say, sir?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any questions, sir?
I do not, Judge.
All right. Mr. Arnold, you have, do you rest your case, Mr. Arnold?
Yes, sir.
The court has heard from the prosecution and the defense. Mr. Arnold, you were charged with driving on suspended license on December 3rd, 2021. The record shows that your license were not reinstated until December 9th of 2021. Based on that fact alone, the court does find you guilty of the violation. The fine amount is $795. Sir, you will be placed on probation for 12 months. 2 months of your probation will be mandatory. You will also be served with a notice of suspension on today, and your driver's license will go into suspension.
Sure.
If you will please have a seat, the court personnel will provide you with a notice of suspension. You will be placed on probation again for 12 months, 2 months mandatory to pay the sum of $795. Please understand, sir, that if you violate the terms of your probation, you can be brought in front of the court on a probation revocation calendar. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask me regarding the sentence of this court?
Yes. How long? I mean, you're saying that my license is suspended right now.
They are suspended right now. That is correct.
For the length of a year?
Let me tell you how that works. I effectuate the suspension, but the Department of Driving Services determine how long they will be suspended. So that is something that the Department of Driving Services will determine the length of your suspension.
So how would I know, or even be able to find out how long? I mean,
So let me tell you, within the next 72 hours, a notice of suspension will go to the Department of Driving Services, and you can contact them and they will tell you the length of the suspension. But they're going to secure your driver's license before you leave the courtroom today. So please give those to court personnel.
yes, sir. The other thing is, you know, I drive for a living. I can't I can't work to even try to take care of my family, even pay probation. I mean, that's my license is what I have to. That's how I make my living.
And I will tell you, Mr. Arnold, it's unfortunate, and you are in the shoes of a lot of people. I can't tell you what you should have done, but I don't understand why you did nothing from December of last year up until now regarding what you're telling me about the city of Hateville. But understand, sir, I have to honor that. Now, if you want to go to the city of Hateville and if they will reverse all of this, you have within 6 months to come back in front of me, and I have no problems reconsidering my ruling. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So you do have an opportunity to go and fix this. You have 6 months from today to do that. I'm gonna leave it up to you as to whether or not you do that. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, if you will please have a seat.
How would I make arrangements for some? I drove here.
You're gonna have to have someone to come and get your car.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir, and please have a seat. You want to call your next matter, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe that was Officer James' only matter. May she be excused?
Yes, Officer James, thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
And Your Honor, the next matter will be Iris Hamilton. This is going to be Officer Ramos.
All right, Ms. Hamilton
Yes.
and Officer Ramos.
Madam Clerks, do we have an announcement for Ramos?
No, sir, we sent him the information. And he is not here.
All right, so we're going to dismiss for warrant of prosecution against Ms. Hamilton, Judge.
All right, Ms. Hamilton, the officer in your case has not chimed on, so this case is being dismissed for warrant of prosecution. Do you have any questions?
You're saying that it's dismissed where I don't have to pay anything?
That is correct. The charge is being dismissed. Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, I did.
Do we have Ms. Hamilton's information?
Yes, we do.
All right, Ms. Hamilton, they will send you your plea form. You will enter a not guilty plea and send that back, and that closes this matter out. Do you understand that?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. You can disengage.
Okay.
Your next matter, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor. The next matter is going to be Mr. Jawad.
All right, Mr. Jawad.
It's Officer Holmes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Officer Holmes, if you'll please turn your video on. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Everyone that is going to testify, was this an accident? Is there a victim in this or some other party involved?
Your Honor, there is a witness, Quanticia Taylor.
Is Ms. Taylor available?
Not in the courtroom. It does not appear that she's logged on.
All right.
All right, Judge, so the city's going to dismiss against Mr. Jawad for warrant of prosecution.
All right, Mr. Jawad, the witness is not here and the police officer did not see the incident, so this matter is being dismissed for warrant of prosecution. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir. And what would be next from here?
Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, sir.
Do we have Mr. Jawad's information?
Yes, we do.
All right, Mr. Gerard, you will receive your plea form. Please enter a not guilty plea and send it back, and that closes this matter out. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, do you have any other questions?
No, that is all.
All right, sir, you can disengage. Thank you. Thank you, Officer Holmes.
Thank you.
All right, your next matter.
Your Honor, the next matter is going to be Jaleesa Thomas,
All right, Ms. Thomas.
and that was Officer Rolex.
Officer Rolex no longer works here, but the witness is here.
Okay, what's the witness's name?
Come forward, please. She's coming up right now.
Thank you. Tell them your name.
Oh, Jacoby Frazier Jr.
Jacoby Ferguson Jr., you said?
Frazier Jr.
Frazier. Mr. Frazier, okay.
And Lorraine Jones.
Okay. Judge, give me 1 second. Let me find my
Okay.
citation real quick. All right, Your Honor, I'm ready.
All right, everyone that is going to testify, if you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, Ms. Thomas, if you will please unmute your device, young lady.
I'm sorry.
I didn't hear you say I do, Ms. Thomas.
I do.
Thank you. You want to go ahead, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor, so I'm trying to make sure that this was charged.
And Ms. Yates?
Okay, so this is a city ordinance violation is what it's charged as.
Okay.
All right, so Your Honor, on July 31st of 2021, Ms. Thomas was issued a citation for disorderly conduct. This involved, I'm going to assume, her then boyfriend and another individual, Mr. Frazier being her then boyfriend, and Miss, is it Jones?
Yes, Lorraine Jones.
It's Jones.
All right.
The incident was within the city limits of Forest Park. According to the citation issued by the officer, this was within the city limits of Forest Park on O'Hara Road in Forest Park. Both witnesses were sworn in. I'd like to call Mr. Frazier first for testimony, Judge. Mr. Frazier, on the date in question, were you involved in a incident with Ms. Thomas?
Yes, sir.
And was that incident at a particular location that you're familiar with? Was it your home, your apartment, or you guys were in public?
This is where I live. It's at home.
Where you live, okay. And did the incident occur inside or outside of the home?
Outside.
All right. Can you briefly state to the court how the incident occurred?
I can't really remember, but I just remember that I was yelling, real frustrated, and I wanted her to come pick up my son. And well, I was gonna drop him off. And she came, and when she got out of the car, I was just, frustrated and yelling the whole time. And it kind of we exchanged words, everything like that.
So Mr. Frazier, let me ask you, were you charged with disorderly conduct at some point too?
They did, but then I guess because she came to where I live, they didn't give me the citation. Okay. Officer Rolex did say that we both was gonna get a citation, but he just gave her one.
All right, so let me also ask you, the relationship between you and Ms. Thomas, she is the mother of your child?
Yes.
Okay. At the time you guys were together?
Still is.
Okay, so you are still together. Your Honor, I know the jeopardy is attached and we sworn everybody in and heard some testimony. My understanding though is that this is a city ordinance charge. Normally, if we have the information ahead of time and there is a familial relationship with the individuals involved, we consider doing something to make sure that it does not impact their record. I would have, based on the facts that have been testified to by Mr. Frazier, and his testimony here that he was engaged in the argument that led to the police coming out and issuing a citation, I would ask that the court use its discretion in reference to Ms. Thomas's charges, even with the fact that Mr. Frazier has admitted that they're still in a relationship and they do have a child together. So what I don't want to do is get testimony from Ms. Thomas first that makes this an irreversible issue.
Ms. Thomas, do you understand what the prosecutor is saying?
Yes.
We're gonna
Yes.
do a 90-day compliance. Let there be no further activity. When you all come back to court in 90 days, if there's no further activity, the charge will be dismissed.
Okay.
All right.
Now, I know that we have Ms. Jones that's present in court. I don't know her connection to this. If she wanted to be heard before we put anybody off, or is she just okay with the matter?
Well, I'm not,
Ms. Jones, is there something you'd like to say?
yes, sir, I do. Mr. Frazier is my nephew. He lives with me. And there has been incidents with him and his girlfriend with attitudes. And he lived with me. This has been the second time that she has been to my home and they have gotten in consultation. And it's always something about the baby. When she don't like what's going on, she says she's going to take her baby and she's going to leave. And this is what this all started from, because he didn't get up that morning when she called him for him to feed the baby at that particular time, which was 8 o'clock in the morning. My only thing with this is I just want her to stay away from my home. He have visitation right with his son, which he does not get to see his son, or we don't get to see the child, and she don't want him to come. I don't want her to my home, but I do want him to have rights to be able to see his son on a visitation privileges without her having to be at my home.
Well, let me say this to you, Ms. Jones. You not wanting her to come to your home, you have the right to do that. If he wants to have visitation with his child, then he'll need to go through the courts and get an order for visitation. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
So she has heard that you do not want her at your house. Do you understand that, Ms. Thomas?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so at this point, she will not be at the house. We will reset this for 90 days. If Mr. Frazier wants to get visitation and do what needs to be done to get visitation, he will apply through the courts and get that done, but that's his responsibility.
Okay.
All right, so what we're gonna do is continue this case for 90 days. Mr. Frazier, if visitation is important to you, then go through the courts and get it. Your aunt has told you she does not want your girlfriend there at the house, so please do not do anything that encourages that. Do you understand that, sir?
Yeah, I already have visitation rights. I see him on a daily basis.
Is there a written order of visitation?
No,
Then you don't have visitation rights.
I don't think
All you all have is an agreement, okay? You need to go through the court and get a court order, but I'll leave that up to you.
All right.
Okay, that sounds like that's probably the problem. You need a court order. Okay, but I'll leave that up to you as to what you do. But I will see both of you all back here in 90 days, and hopefully Ms. Jones will let me know there's been no other incidents at her house. Okay? All right, I'll see you all back in 90 days. Ms. Thomas, have you provided your email address in the chat?
Yes, sir.
All right, do you all have Ms. Thomas's email address?
Yes, we do.
All right, if you will give all of them a 90-day continuance compliance.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Ms. Jones, thank you. If you'll please have a seat. Mr. Frazier, if you'll please have a seat. Ms. Thomas, since you provided that information, you can disengage, young lady.
Okay, thank you.
All right. It doesn't look like we have anyone else in the queue. Is there anyone else in the courtroom that we need to deal with?
No, sir.
Okay. Andreas, thank you for taking care of 1 o'clock. I have depositions at 10, 1, and 4 today.
No worries. I am actually headed to Cobb County for a 10 o'clock calendar call. So I can make it to 11 o'clock at UC. Judge, there was one last matter that was on the calendar.
Yeah, and I wanted to tell you, I should be on time for 6 o'clock, but if not, it's because of that 4 o'clock deposition.
Uh-oh, I didn't know we had 6 o'clock.
Yes, we have 6 o'clock tonight in UC.
I'm glad you told me.
Yes.
Listen, so on Trayvon
Yes.
Deakins was